A woman with dark hair checks her watch, annoyed at being called for an interview on such short notice. As she waits, a silver-haired young man points in her direction, while a small, purple-haired boy nearby plays with a yellow ball. The boy's ball rolls into the street, and as he chases it, a red bus speeds towards him, prompting shouts of, "Whoa!" and "Look out!" with a cry for the boy to get out of the way. The dark-haired woman lunges to save him and is struck by the bus with a violent thud. Lying in a pool of her own blood, she thinks that if she had known she would die protecting this child, the purple-haired boy she saved stares down at her, and as she looks into his eyes, she wonders why his purple irises feel so familiar. Resigned to her fate, she thinks she would have died soon anyway, but suddenly a voice declares, "I finally caught you," and that she can't get away. Reborn as a pink-haired woman named Olivia Castor, she awakens in a new world, wondering if she's truly alive as a voice confirms she's been caught. A hand firmly grips her chin as an unseen man tells her it would be a problem if she died before taking responsibility. The man, revealed to be the long-haired, light purple-haired Insley, holds her gaze while she internally remarks on how handsome he is. He grips her wrists above her head, telling Olivia to stop playing dumb and reminding her of the deal they made at the Royal Academy. Confused by the mention of the Academy, she suddenly realizes he must be Beard. Insley smirks. Surprised, she remembers, while Olivia panics, recognizing this desperate scene from a manga she once read. In a flashback to the Royal Academy, a red-haired man named Eris reminds Olivia of their promise to get Insley completely wasted. The flashback continues, showing Eris speaking to Olivia at the Academy. In the memory, Olivia smirks at a male classmate, condescendingly asking if he's ever looked in a mirror. Another student quickly pulls the insulted boy away, urging him to stop and leave. Two female students gossip nearby, calling Olivia's treatment of her classmates cruel and noting how she seems to be propositioned by strange guys. As Olivia stands alone, the girls continue their whispers, judging her for having a flashy private life and declaring they could never be like her. Holding her book tightly, Olivia bitterly wonders if anyone thinks she's doing any of this by her own free will. She steels her resolve, knowing she must make up her mind soon before it's too late. Approaching the boys' dorm, Olivia is stopped by a guard, but she smiles sweetly and says she has something to deliver to Eris. The guard informs her that Ares hasn't returned yet, so she politely excuses herself, claiming she'll come back later. She walks purposefully toward a door marked Insley, resolved that this time there is no turning back. With a soft click, she opens the door to his room. Inside, Ares helps a seemingly drunk Insley, commenting that his cold behavior is bound to get him noticed. Ares carefully lays the unconscious Insley down on his bed. Leaving the room, Ares muses that Insley being late for class tomorrow will probably cheer her up, before closing the door with a click. Olivia enters the dimly lit room and approaches the sleeping Insley, pleading silently for him not to hate her because she is running out of time. She leans over him, her hands moving to unbutton his shirt as she prepares to carry out her plan. Insley stirs in his sleep, murmuring, "Who's there? Are you crying?" Tears in her eyes, Olivia whispers that she's not crying, she's just so happy. Gently caressing his face, she thinks that feeling even a little of his kindness at the end of her life would be enough. She kisses him deeply, believing that even if he hated her for this, she wouldn't regret it. He whispers her name, confused, saying this isn't right, but she pulls away slightly, her back to him, and declares that she has already decided. The next morning, sunlight streams into the room as Insley awakens with a throbbing headache. Sitting up in bed, he clutches his head, trying to piece together the events of the previous night. He discovers marks on his neck, his eyes widening in shock as he realizes his encounter with Olivia was not a dream. Now fully dressed, Insley storms out of his room, fuming about how that idiot Ares was completely tricked. He spots a folded letter on the floor, and upon reading it, his expression turns to one of pained confusion. Meanwhile, Ares walks along a sunny path outside the academy, humming a cheerful tune. Insley suddenly confronts Ares, who is startled and nearly drops the breakfast he bought for Olivia, as Insley tells him he knows nothing about her. Ares defensively asks what he means, worried Olivia is being bullied, and insists that despite her tough act, she is fragile and would be crying. Insley scoffs at the thought, questioning the idea of Olivia crying from being bullied. A brief flash of a crying Olivia appears as he wonders why she would cry, or who would even bully her. Aris stands up to Insley, telling him to direct his anger at him if he's upset about Olivia getting him drunk last night. With a sudden grab, Insley seizes Aris' collar, angrily demanding to know why Olivia would deliberately get him drunk. Aris frantically explains that Olivia simply doesn't like him and wanted to make him late for class, while Insley thinks to himself that Aris clearly doesn't know she's sick and dying. Insley thoughtfully concludes that since Olivia is terminally ill, she must have planned this, believing she would die without consequences. With a sharp gaze, he scoffs at her perceived naivete. Deciding to join Aris, Insley says he will go with him to deliver Olivia's breakfast. As they walk, a guard cheerfully greets Aris, teasing him about delivering breakfast to his cute girlfriend. Flustered, Aris insists she hasn't accepted his feelings yet, while Insley watches silently from behind. Aris confronts the irritated-looking Insley, asking why he's so annoyed when he was the one who wanted to come. A young man in a uniform calls for them to stop, informing them that Olivia is not in the dorm. A surprised Aris questions if she went to class so early in the morning. The young man clarifies that she rushed back in the middle of the night and left again almost immediately. Insley quietly questions her departure as the scene shifts to a view of the town streets below. Back in the present, Olivia recalls the manga's plot. The character Olivia seduced Insley, escaped, but was caught and forced into a support role. Held firmly by Insley, she asks him to let go of her hand so they can talk properly. Leaning closer, he asks if this is too close compared to their night together, leaving her speechless. Ugh! Insley shoves her, and she tumbles backward down a short flight of stairs. As he walks away, a trio of tiny, cartoonish birds seems to tweet from above the awkward scene. He stands over her, calling her bold for being prepared to die, before demanding to know the meaning of her actions. Kneeling before him, Olivia pleads that it wasn't on purpose and begs him to believe her. Insley scoffs, refusing to be fooled by the same trick twice. She tearfully insists it's true, claiming she's just cleaning up a mess and swears she would never have approached him if she could go back in time. He coolly repeats her words back to her, questioning her vow to stay away. Frustrated, Olivia asks why he's twisting her words. Insley sits down, telling her there's something she needs to understand. He grips her chin, warning her not to expect forgiveness for angering a sick man, which triggers Olivia's memory of his chronic illness as she recalls reading a book. The book reveals the Beard family's curse of short lifespans, explaining Insley was hidden and raised separately for his protection. It further explains his family managed to change the death curse into chronic headaches, showing a young Insley in pain. Enduring daily headaches, he grew eccentric and preferred solitude. The narration concludes that the original Olivia knew none of this. In a flashback, a brown-haired girl confesses her feelings to Insley, showing how the original Olivia, like many others, fell for him. The girl smiles sweetly as she hands him a letter, knowing only that he was cold and distant. Afraid of being rejected like the others, she crumpled the letter in her hands. A montage reveals she first befriended Aris to get close to Insley, then became terminally ill, and finally just wanted to see the one person who cared for her before she died. Alone on a bridge, Olivia stands in a blue dress, looking out at the city. The narration reveals she never knew Insley slept peacefully that night, or that he, now head of the family, was chasing her. Pinned to the floor by Insley, she learns that he has been unable to sleep deeply ever since their night together. He produces a set of chains, threatening to bind her, and she panics, realizing this was never in the original comic. He grabs her ankle, just as a small voice calls out, "Mom?" Insley freezes, his expression shifting to one of sudden shock. A small, light purple-haired boy appears at the top of the stairs, asking what they are doing. Olivia remembers her character, Olivia, had a child named Samuel and is stunned by his resemblance to the boy she saved, while Insley remarks that she didn't die and had a child in the 5 years since they last met. Panicking internally, Olivia assumes he thinks she lied about everything and had a child with another man. Resigned, she decides explaining is useless, but the boy tells her if she'd said she liked someone sooner, he wouldn't have introduced her to Uncle Mike. Olivia stares blankly, completely bewildered by his comment. Now sitting on Insley's lap, the boy calls him handsome, then innocently points out that their faces look exactly the same. Insley turns to Olivia, agreeing with the boy, and pointedly asking her why they look so alike. Flustered, Olivia struggles for an answer, embarrassed to discuss it in front of a child. Stumbling to her feet, she tries to deny any wrongdoing, but suddenly feels faint and collapses. Insley shouts her name, lunging forward to catch her before she hits the floor. A doctor named Cyril reports that Olivia just needs rest after a strong shock, and Insley dismisses him while watching over her and the sleeping boy. A brown-haired man offers to see the doctor out, and the small boy follows them as Insley looks on. The small boy, Samuel, asks the brown-haired man if Uncle Otto has returned, expressing concern that his mama is at her limit. Samuel declares his mama is the most important person, while the aide notes Olivia's pulse has stabilized and suggests Samuel leave with him. Samuel refuses, thinking the pretty man should go instead. Click. Trying to force a door open, Samuel demands to know what's happening inside, where Insley sits somberly by the bed. Samuel runs toward the bed, shouting that his mama is not a liar and is loved by everyone. As the boy reaches for a chain in Insley's hand, Insley firmly grasps his wrist. Why? Insley lifts the struggling boy by the collar of his shirt. Holding the boy close, Insley warns him to be grateful he wasn't killed. Insley studies the boy's face, noting their striking resemblance before asking his age as the boy coughs. Angrily, Samuel shouts that if his papa were here, he would have protected them. Insley looks away from the boy and calls out the name, Kenneth. A man in a blue military uniform, identified as Kenneth, Insley's head guard, enters and acknowledges the summons. Kenneth reports that the boy is 4-year-old Samuel and that Olivia claims his father died in an accident, prompting Insley to ponder if their resemblance and the timing could be a coincidence. Insley orders Kenneth to take the boy and step back, stating that he wants to rest. To Kenneth's surprise, Insley settles into the bed next to the unconscious Olivia. Kenneth questions Insley's decision to rest there, while Samuel shouts that it's not allowed. With a menacing glare, Insley tells them not to make him repeat himself and to leave quickly. Kenneth leads the protesting Samuel away as Insley watches over Olivia, reflecting that it has been 5 years and wondering if she will finally bring him a peaceful sleep. As Kenneth carries Samuel out, he tells the struggling boy to be quiet, promising that neither he nor his mother will be harmed. Kneeling down, Kenneth tells Samuel he has a face just like someone from the Beard family line. Kenneth informs Samuel he will rest in his room for the night and that he'll explain more tomorrow before turning to leave. The scene flashes back 5 years, showing a younger Olivia arriving at a grand estate and wondering why no one came to greet her. Olivia asks a maid about her family's whereabouts, but the maid nervously replies that they are very busy. Annoyed, Olivia heads inside, scoffing at the idea that anything could be more important than her return. She enters a lavish room and stops in her tracks, a look of surprise on her face. She discovers her family gathered around a brown-haired young woman in a blue dress who is introduced as Loris, the true daughter of the Castor family. Stunned, Olivia asks why everyone is gathered in the room. A woman identified as Countess Castor welcomes Olivia before introducing Loris as the real daughter who went missing 20 years ago. Olivia is speechless, stunned by the revelation of a real daughter. As the Castor family heir, Edwin Castor, watches impassively, Olivia recalls that from that day forward, her home became an extremely uncomfortable place for her. In a sunlit garden, Olivia's family showers Loris with affection while ignoring her. A man offers Loris sweets, asking if they suit her taste. Olivia objects, stating that the sweet is her favorite and the last one, but her brother retorts that Loris deserves it after enduring hardships. Heartbroken, Olivia slams her hands on the table, crying out that it's not her fault Loris suffered, and demanding to know why they are treating her so cruelly. Loris tearfully apologizes, blaming herself for returning. Edwin furiously points at Olivia, warning her never to say that again, and threatening to kick her out of the mansion if she does. Olivia runs away in tears, reflecting that this was only the beginning of something even more terrible that awaited her. She recalls that she was already in love with Insley back then, and she thought getting close to his friends might be a way to approach him. As she watches Insley reading alone, her brother and Loris approach him to ask him for a meal, but he calmly refuses. Realizing that befriending his acquaintances won't work, Olivia decides she needs to find someone who can shorten the distance more directly. And so, she began to make contact with various other male students at the academy. While she successfully got closer to one of Insley's friends, Her actions also drew attention from many other male students. As a result of her interactions, malicious rumors about her began to spread among the other girls. Olivia recalls not caring about the rumors as long as she could be near Insley, but they eventually reached the Royal Academy and ruined her family's reputation. Her brother angrily confronts her, declaring that he doesn't care who she fools around with, but dragging Loris into the scandal is unforgivable. Her father slams his fist down, agreeing that Olivia has brought shame upon the Castor family name. Countess Castor looks on with a sad expression, suggesting they should talk to Olivia calmly as she comforts the crying Loris. In another memory, a friend hands Olivia a test report, which she accepts after stating she wants to give some souvenirs to her family first. Her friend notes her devotion to her family, and Olivia reaffirms that, despite everything, they are still her family as she arrives home with gifts. As Olivia cheerfully enters the room, her brother remarks with disdain how happy she seems, even though Loris is in so much pain. Thump! Angered by the constant mention of Loris, Olivia drops the stack of presents she was carrying. Her brother continues his lecture, praising Loris as a good girl, despite her suffering, while looking down on Olivia. Enraged by her brother's words, Olivia demands to know what she did to deserve being spoken to this way. Her father glares at her, angrily stating that he didn't send her to the Royal Academy to fool around with men. He points accusingly at Olivia, yelling at her for smearing the Castor family name. Her brother Edwin coldly tells her to take better care of herself and not drag Loris into her scandals. As Countess Castor comforts a crying Loris and demands Olivia apologize, Olivia retreats up the stairs, wondering why she should apologize for something she didn't do. Alone in her room, Olivia feels that only Loris exists in her family's eyes now, but tries to reassure herself that she still has friends before noticing a letter and wondering what it is. Seeking out Aries, Olivia asks him to help her get Insley drunk, so he'll miss morning class, a request he enthusiastically accepts. Aries happily agrees to the plan, while a flashback shows Olivia asking for Insley's forgiveness, knowing she doesn't have much time left. In the present, the reincarnated Olivia realizes she is experiencing the original's memories, feeling the profound sorrow and despair she once endured. A voice suddenly questions her ability to understand despair, and with a jolt, she sits up in bed, demanding to know who's there. Insley stands before her, mockingly asking if she was expecting someone else. Insley turns away slightly, telling her that his question comes first. He reveals that a doctor confirmed she's in perfect health and confronts her with a report, demanding to know why she isn't suffering from the incurable illness she claimed to have. Internally, Olivia scoffs, thinking that if he wants to know what she really is, he should ask the author of the story, not her. Trying to buy time, she tells him it's a long story and asks if they can change positions before she explains. Leaning closer, Insley smirks and provocatively asks if she's referring to a different kind of position change. Olivia blushes intensely, mortified by his vulgar insinuation. He holds her chin firmly, warning her that another word will result in him shutting her up. He leans back slightly, clarifying that he won't stop at just a kiss and asking if she understands his meaning. Panicked, Olivia thinks about how her heart is pounding and that, despite their past, this would be her first time. Stepping back, Insley puts on his cape as Olivia, confused, asks what happened to his chronic illness. She begins to explain that she was gravely injured during a mission after joining a mercenary unit. When Insley questions how dangerous the mission was, Olivia admits she was new and made mistakes. Insley observes her, thinking that her ability to participate in such missions proves she has great talent and has become an independent woman. He then tells her that the story she's telling doesn't quite match the information his investigation uncovered. Cornering her against a wall, he notes that the person he sees and the person he's heard about are completely different. With a confident smirk, Olivia lifts the chain connecting her ankles. Insley tells her he won't allow her to leave, but says he will permit her to pack her belongings. As Olivia asks what he means, he turns toward a door, ordering her to pack because she's returning to Zarlant with him. With a determined look, Insley declares that he has already decided her fate. A uniformed aide bows respectfully, acknowledging Insley's command. Insley gives the aide a final, stern look. The aide observes Olivia, wondering if she's really the one, while Insley thinks to himself that with her by his side, he can finally sleep soundly. From behind a closed door, Samuel's voice shouts, demanding to be let out and threatening anyone who hurts his mom. Click! The door opens and Samuel rushes into the room. Insley calmly allows the boy to go to his mother, warning him not to make a fuss. As Olivia packs a basket, Samuel arrives with folded blankets. She tells him he doesn't have to come, but he refuses. Gazing at his mother, Samuel insists he is going with her to protect her. Holding him close, Olivia asks if he isn't scared of what might happen when they get back to Zarland. Samuel looks into her eyes with determination, promising to protect her no matter what. As Olivia embraces her son, thinking he's a dependable angel, a maid arrives with an outfit from Commander Insley for her to change into. Taking the box, Olivia nervously wonders if she's being given prison clothes. She has a brief, worried vision of herself as a child in a prison uniform being dragged away by guards. In a comical chibi moment, Olivia panics, waving her arms and shaking her head frantically. Her expression turns somber as she considers the possibility, thinking how tragic it would be if her fears were true. Holding the box, Olivia looks at Samuel and contemplates trying to escape instead. Samuel, however, seems to read her mind, telling her he's also thought of escaping but directs her attention to something just out of view. From a balcony, Olivia looks down in shock at something below, while Samuel watches from behind her. The view reveals a street below patrolled by a squad of uniformed soldiers, showing they are surrounded. Samuel looks at his mother with grim determination, telling her there is no way for them to escape. Resigned, Olivia clutches the box containing her new outfit, hoping things will somehow work out. The box is opened, revealing a black and white maid's uniform complete with a ruffled apron and headband. Holding up the garment, Olivia looks at the maid outfit with an expression of confused disbelief. As Kenneth knocks to announce their departure, Insley coldly tells him to just kick the door down instead. Insley enters the room with a commanding presence, his aide Kenneth following closely behind. Insley and Kenneth both look surprised by the sight before them, just inside the room. Insley's gaze narrows as he questions whether the outfit was meant for Olivia. Samuel stands stoically, now wearing the frilly black and white maid's dress. Leaning out from a doorway, Olivia smirks playfully, suggesting it doesn't really matter who wears the outfit. As she tries to put the dress on a struggling Samuel, Olivia reminds him he promised not to make her suffer. Olivia cheerfully tells Samuel to try on the dress, but he protests that the outfit doesn't suit him. Brushing off his concerns, Olivia happily tries to dress a sweating and nervous Samuel. Insley suddenly appears with a box, offering to help Samuel get changed as his attendants watch. Panicked in his new dress, Samuel yells out as a hand reaches toward him to adjust his collar. Insley reaches for the boy, but Olivia interrupts from the doorway, declaring that she can dress herself. Bam! The door slams shut, leaving Insley looking momentarily stunned in the hallway. Heave-ho. Kenneth lifts Samuel, cheerfully commenting that the boy in the dress reminds him of a young Insley. A maid with dark hair sternly tells Kenneth to stop fooling around, calling his behavior rude. Kenneth playfully pinches Samuel's cheek, causing the boy to cry out for him to stop. As Kenneth muses that Samuel's mother must be special, the dark-haired maid angrily tells him, "That's enough." While Kenneth and Samuel wait at the door, Insley warns Olivia to come out soon, or he'll open it himself. Olivia emerges, now wearing the maid uniform, and observes that the situation feels strange. Insley declares that Olivia will be his exclusive maid in Zarland, and that a woman named Alice will teach her their customs. In a quaint town, Olivia boards a green carriage, beginning her journey back to Zarland. Inside the carriage, Olivia reflects that, while chaotic, the frontier was a place of comfort, unlike the uncertain future she now faces. Stepping into the carriage, she resolves that having come this far, there is nothing left to fear. The maid, Alice, rouses a dozing Olivia, telling her that her etiquette lesson isn't finished yet. With a weary sigh, Olivia covers a yawn, wishing she could just return to her original world. Olivia dismisses the lesson, but Alice retorts that her behavior is unbecoming of someone from a noble family. Olivia's expression hardens as she corrects Alice, stating she's not a noble but a mercenary. Slam! Alice closes her book, angrily questioning the Castor family's education for raising someone so ill-mannered. The scene shifts to a flashback of noble women at a garden party gossiping about Lord Insley, the beard heir, returning soon. A young woman with short pink hair recalls that he left on a training journey right after his coming-of-age ceremony. A woman with wavy brown hair adds that he's returned to arrange a political marriage that has the royal family's attention. The pink-haired woman imagines herself as the Duchess of Beard, her eyes turning to hearts at the possibility. The brown-haired woman dismisses another woman's chances, pointing out that someone of her status would never be chosen. The two women then turn to Loris, telling her that with her beauty, she has a real chance with the handsome Lord Insley. Loris humbly deflects the compliment but agrees to go see him with her friends. Loris stands alone in a grand doorway, a thoughtful and serious expression on her face. Countess Castor notices Loris's serious demeanor and asks if something has happened. Loris asks her mother for a new dress and necklace, but the Countess reveals she's already prepared them, much to Loris's surprise. The Countess explains that the gifts are for the imminent return of Insley, the heir to the Beard family. Gently holding Loris's face, the Countess tells her that she has reached the age to think about marriage. Back in the present, Insley orders an aide to bring Olivia to the carriage, assuming her lessons are complete. An enraged Olivia storms up to a seated Insley, startling him from his reading. She confronts him, demanding to know if what Alice said is true, that he's returning to Zarlant for a political marriage. Alice warns Olivia that with Insley returning for a political marriage, any impoliteness is unacceptable. Olivia realizes this means he will finally meet Loris. With renewed determination, Olivia thinks to herself that she absolutely refuses to become a supporting character and die as the story dictates. Gazing out the carriage window, Olivia resolves to find a way to change her fate. Insley calmly confirms Olivia's suspicions about the political marriage, simply stating, "That's right." Olivia looks at him in frustration, telling him she wouldn't have come if she had known this was the reason for his return. With a confident smirk, Insley holds her close and informs her that she doesn't have the right to choose. Now sitting opposite him, Olivia calmly argues that forcing her to stay will only damage his reputation. Leaning closer, she asks him to just give up and say he won't be taking her back to Zarlant. Insley counters with an offer, proposing a second mission and promising to forgive her past if she succeeds. Gripping her shoulders, he reveals his true motive. He wants to avoid the political marriage and needs her to be his shield, leaving Olivia stunned. Olivia considers his proposal, realizing that Samuel could pass as his son due to their resemblance and the timing of his birth, wondering if Insley already knows. She angrily rejects the idea, exclaiming that it's unfair to force her to oppose the royal family after everything she's already paid. She realizes this development matches the original story's plot, which leads to her death, as Insley promises her freedom and a reward in 1 year. Insley sits with his arms crossed, his expression unreadable as he waits for her decision. Olivia looks at him. Insley assures her it's true, claiming he never lies, but privately thinks that not specifying the reward isn't the same as lying. Olivia weighs her options, concluding that since she was destined to die anyway, cooperating with Insley is the safest path to survival. After clearing her, holding up one finger, Olivia states her first condition is a guarantee of her personal safety, to which Insley agrees. With 2 fingers raised, she declares her second condition. She will have nothing to do with the Castor family ever again. As she raises a 3rd finger, Olivia sweats, trying and failing to remember the family customs Alice was supposed to have taught her. Insley smirks, revealing that the customs were a lie and his family has no such thing. He gently pats her head, admitting he was just teasing her a little, much to her surprise. Enraged, a chibi Olivia hurls a book at him, shouting, "Insley, you bastard!" Thump! Insley stands formally as the book he was holding slips from his grasp and falls to the ground. Loris watches the scene unfold with a thoughtful expression. The pink-haired woman whispers to her friends, dismissing the idea that Insley has a lover since he just returned from his journey. The pink-haired woman encourages a hesitant Loris, telling her to simply walk by and drop her handkerchief to get his attention. The wavy brown-haired woman smiles in agreement with the plan. Despite expressing her dislike for the scheme, Loris is pushed forward by her 2 friends. The pink-haired woman pulls Loris along, insisting that a true gentleman will always help, even with small things. Walking past Insley, Loris lets her green handkerchief slip from her hand. As the handkerchief falls, Olivia's annoyed voice calls out to Insley from inside the carriage, asking if he's even listening. The handkerchief lands directly in Olivia's hand as she looks out, her expression one of utter confusion. Loris stares in disbelief, calling out Olivia's name and demanding to know why she is there. Peeking out from the carriage, Olivia holds up the handkerchief and asks the woman who she is. Loris introduces herself as Olivia's sister, wondering internally why she is riding in Lord Inslat's carriage. With a grimace, Loris realizes that the voice she heard from the carriage earlier was indeed Olivia's. Loris scolds Olivia, calling her selfish for running away for years just because their parents had reprimanded her. Olivia casually greets Loris, but then stumbles awkwardly as she exits the carriage, making a mockery of their reunion. In a chibi thought bubble, Olivia berates herself for being a clumsy fool. As Chibis, Olivia complains that her legs fell asleep, while Inslat retorts that she was only tricked because she's stupid. The gossiping noblewomen identify Olivia as the disappeared sister who did whatever she pleased. The women recall that Inslat's ceremony was cut short because of Olivia's actions, prompting Loris to directly ask Inslat why he returned with her sister. Olivia suddenly panics, realizing she forgot to act like a maid. She pointedly clears her throat, trying to regain her composure and play her part. Addressing him properly as, "My lord," Olivia dutifully hands the handkerchief back to Inslat. Inslat takes the handkerchief and coldly remarks that if she can't even manage one properly, she shouldn't carry one at all. While the noblewomen note Inslat's cold demeanor, Olivia thinks that she understands his feelings all too well, and that their reunion was an outcome she never predicted. Olivia turns to Inslat and asks him to clarify what rumors the women are talking about. The wavy brown-haired woman calls Lord Inslat cruel, while a distraught Loris laments her lost handkerchief. Inslat maintains a stoic and unreadable expression, his eyes closed in thought. From the perspective of the gossiping women, Inslat and Olivia stand together in the distance. As Inslat turns to leave, Olivia calls out that she's coming and pushes past Loris and her friends to follow him. A male onlooker comments on the humiliating scene, noting how the noble lady was brushed off after trying to get close. Loris stares after her sister with a pained expression, whispering Olivia's name. The scene transitions to the grand and imposing Dukebeard's residence at dusk. Following Inslat, Olivia looks around nervously, commenting that she can't believe he can stay in such a creepy place. Inslat explains it's his first time back as well, adding that an eerie home is fitting for a cursed family, which shocks Olivia as she realizes she forgot something. She recalls that the book mentioned Inslat's chronic illness, but wonders if it ever specified the cause was a curse. Olivia concludes that the story she knows is just the tip of the iceberg in this world. She grows anxious, realizing she has to make decisions based on incomplete information, which feels too difficult. Noticing her distress, Inslat smirks and teasingly asks if she's scared. Feigning composure, Olivia denies being scared and asks if the curse is contagious. Inslat sweeps a flustered Olivia into his arms and carries her away as she questions what he's doing. A woman with blonde hair and a green dress watches from a balcony, demanding Inslat explain who the person with him is. Olivia immediately recognizes the woman as the Duchess of Beard and looks on with apprehension. As Olivia tries to explain there's nothing between them, Insult pulls her back and tells his mother to stop intimidating her. Holding Olivia close, Insult boldly declares she is the one woman he loves and has been searching for years, leaving Olivia stunned. Dawn, the Duchess slams her fist on the balustrade, her face a mask of fury as she asks what he just said. Inslat calmly asks if she didn't hear him, while a dark-haired maid with glasses scolds him for speaking so disrespectfully to the Duchess. Inslat turns to the maid and coldly questions her own disrespectful tone, while she addresses him as "Your Excellency." After the maid apologizes, the Duchess reminds Inslat of the royal family's plan for his marriage, but he confirms it's true while standing resolutely with Olivia. The Duchess warns that his actions are an act of defiance, causing Olivia to panic as she realizes she's now part of his rebellion when she only agreed to be a maid. Inslat confidently asks if a powerful family like the Beards should truly worry about the royal family. The Duchess retorts that no one would agree with his decision, but he dismisses her concern, stating that he's fine with that. The Duchess fixes her gaze on Olivia, who is hiding behind Inslat, and orders her to come out. The Duchess asks Inslat if Olivia is the same woman who was rude to him previously. She expresses disbelief that he brought the woman back instead of killing her, then says she will only say one thing. Inslat continues to hold a nervous Olivia by his side, protecting her from his mother's glare. With a confident smirk, Inslat tells Olivia that she never would have gotten close to him if he hadn't created an opening for her. As Olivia protests, a man and a child arrive, and the child calls out, "Mom?" Interrupting the tense standoff, the Duchess exclaims in surprise at the sight of the child, as Samuel runs happily towards Olivia. Olivia kneels to embrace Samuel, gently telling him that he shouldn't run around by himself. The Duchess stares at the child, while Insley tells them to eat and rest. Nearby, his grandmother watches from a balcony. The Duchess turns and respectfully greets the older woman as her mother-in-law. Insley's grandmother summons him to her side, and he obediently agrees to go. The grandmother tells Olivia and Samuel to rest, but warns Insley not to forget what she said, his expression turning grim. The dark-haired maid with glasses leads Olivia and Samuel into a grand, brightly lit dining room. Samuel's eyes widen as he peers over the table, exclaiming, "Wow, what a feast!" Olivia worries this is her last supper, as the Duchess declares they are a shadow on Insley's future and must leave immediately after their meal, which has been poisoned. In a dark, comedic fantasy, Olivia and Samuel are shown dead from the poison, snapping out of it. She tells Samuel he doesn't have to eat. The Duchess claps, looking surprised that Olivia actually appeared for dinner. With a calm smile, the Duchess tells a tense Olivia to relax, saying she only wanted to chat. Olivia informs the Duchess that she already spoke with Lord Insley in the carriage, piquing the Duchess's curiosity. Looking resolute, Olivia states that she doesn't mind if she can't marry Lord Insley, because what she truly wants is something else. From a balcony, Insley's grandmother watches him and questions the method he has devised. Insley explains that since he doesn't know who the mastermind is, his cautious nature prevents him from trusting anyone. His grandmother understands he had no choice, revealing she sent him away to save him from the fate of his father and grandfather, as his enemies can't touch him now. She attributes their deaths to the Beard family curse, prompting Insley to vow he will end it in his generation before she asks if Samuel is truly his son. Insley states that while it's not certain, he is quite sure Samuel is his son, especially since the boy is perfectly healthy, unlike himself. His grandmother is visibly startled by his confident assertion. She urges Insley to confirm if the child is truly his son as soon as possible, and he solemnly agrees. Insley declares he will go to his father, while in another room, Olivia thinks to herself that all she truly wants is to be by his side. Overcome with emotion, she clutches her chest and reaffirms her desire to stay with him, even if it's only as a maid. The Duchess of Beard watches Olivia from across the dining table with a thoughtful, unreadable expression. Samuel tugs on his mother's apron, declaring that he, too, wants to be with her. As a tiny chibi, Olivia notes the Duchess's expression softening. The Duchess declares she will refuse the engagement with the royal family herself. The Duchess adds that in that case, they cannot have a grand wedding, sending a chibi Olivia into a panic as she thinks she must stop it at all costs. Olivia calmly agrees, stating that she understands his position and does not wish for a wedding. Stunned, the Duchess remarks on Olivia's deep affection for Insley and laments her own perceived failures as his mother. The Duchess tells Olivia she believes she can give Insley the love that she, as his mother, could not provide. Olivia reassures the madam, who then smiles and tells her to eat slowly, explaining she didn't mean to cause trouble. Olivia looks on in surprise as Samuel leaves the table, asking him where he is going. Samuel approaches the Duchess, takes her hand, and thanks her, promising to be a good boy. The Duchess, deeply touched, tells him to call her grandmother, and he happily obliges, giving her a kiss on the cheek. Charmed, the Duchess notes he isn't shy and offers to show the good boy around the large estate, to which Samuel eagerly agrees. Olivia watches as the Duchess leads Samuel away from the dining room, the boy looking back with a happy wave. With tears in her eyes, Olivia thinks that, in a way, she feels like Samuel is the one who is saving her. She reflects that while Insley persuaded his grandmother, Samuel managed to capture the heart of his mother as well. Feeling a wave of relief, Olivia picks up her utensils, thinking that the immediate crisis is over for now. After her meal, Olivia wipes her mouth as the dark-haired maid with glasses appears and offers to show her to her room. Addressing the estate's owner as Duke Aries Beard, Insley coolly tells the maid she is free to leave if dissatisfied. Flustered, she apologizes and rushes to prepare the rooms. Peeking from behind a column, Olivia thinks that while the servants are inflexible, Insley didn't need to be quite so harsh. She then quietly complains to herself about the prospect of sharing a room with him. Insley pulls her into an embrace, musing that it's a wonder she survived on the frontier with such a simple nature, and adding that she was sent to him on someone's orders. Olivia accuses him of deliberately putting them in the same room to make the maid misunderstand their relationship. He gently cups her face, looking into her eyes and telling her he did it because he truly needs her. Blushing, Olivia recalls their wonderful night at the inn as Insley pulls her onto his lap with a soft grunt. Patter, patter. Samuel comes running back into the room, calling out that he forgot something. The Duchess appears behind him, telling him they shouldn't bother the couple, and privately thinking that Insley is pushing matters too aggressively. As the Duchess leads Samuel away, Insley looks on and tells the boy to be more careful about not forgetting things. Olivia questions Insley, who in turn asks what she thinks he and his mother discussed, wondering why she suddenly accepted them when Samuel's charm alone seems insufficient. He pulls her closer, pointing out that Samuel must be related to him to have convinced his mother. Olivia despairs, realizing she can't deny it, as she did return with a child after 5 years. With determined eyes, Olivia resolves that though it won't be easy, she has no choice but to take this chance. Insley gently pats her head, smiling as he tells her not to worry because he isn't planning to do anything to her. Despite scaring her, he takes her by the hand and leads her away, telling her they are going to the backyard. They arrive in the backyard and look out over a garden towards a large, darkened estate building in the distance. Click. Insley opens a door, announcing he is going to introduce her to his father, which shocks Olivia, who believed he was dead. As they enter a dark hallway, Insley asks why she's looking at him, as if she's about to bite him, while she wonders why it's so dark. Holding up a single candle, Insley calls her bold and questions whether she is thick-skinned or just a coward. She retorts that she never would have approached him if she knew this would happen, then suddenly trips with a whack, crying out in pain. Insley calmly explains that it's nothing. He just needs a moment to mentally prepare himself, as it's been a long time since he's been there. Overwhelmed by the eerie atmosphere of the dark hallway, Olivia covers her face with her hands. Insley explains that the family curse only affects the men, which is why his father's residence is so strange. Hearing this, Olivia wonders what the curse is and wildly imagines it might turn people into vampires. Her dark fantasy shows a cloaked vampire with red eyes lunging at her, but she quickly shakes off the terrifying thought. Insley turns back, his face illuminated by a single candle, and asks Olivia what she is talking to herself about. A panicked chibi Olivia resolves to pull herself together, then cheerfully tells Insley that she is coming. As they continue down the hallway, Olivia cautiously asks if his father has any strange tastes. Her suspicion growing, Olivia wonders if her vampire theory might be correct as they approach a grand doorway. Insley glances back and asks if she is scared. Olivia nervously dismisses the possibility of a curse, pointing out that Insley looks perfectly healthy. Reaching the door, Insley presents Olivia with a choice: enter and share his fate with some freedom, or refuse and be forced to follow all his instructions from now on. Standing before a large, ornate archway flanked by suits of armor, he warns her to think carefully, as this decision concerns her future. With a look of grim understanding, Olivia realizes that everything up until this moment was merely a rehearsal for this crucial test. As Insley begins to walk away, a flustered Olivia calls out, protesting that it's weird for him to start a countdown after telling her to think things over. He turns back with a confident, amused smile, remarking on how entertaining he finds the situation. Olivia steals her resolve, knowing that she must gain Insley's trust to change the ending, and cannot afford to make the wrong choice here. With determination in her eyes, Olivia announces that she will go in with him, prompting Insley to ask if she has truly thought it through. Insley gives her one final warning, telling her that once she steps inside, there is no turning back. Olivia mentally calls him a cunning man for constantly testing her, but decides that since the future is unknown, she wants to know everything about him, good or bad. She tells Insley that she acted strangely because she was thinking so much about him, and he seems to understand. As she touches a book he is holding, she wonders if her words manage to touch his heart. Insley simply tells her to come with him as they walk through the grand doors. The overwhelming smell of blood hits Olivia as she enters the room. Insley explains his father was driven insane by the curse and must be kept asleep. They approach a large bed where a man with long, light purple hair lies sleeping. Olivia notes he looks peaceful and questions if the curse truly exists. Insley gestures to a tray of vials filled with a red liquid, explaining that this is how they suppress the curse. Olivia stares at the vials with wide, fearful eyes and asks if it is blood. With a serious expression, Insley confirms that it is a special kind of blood. He explains that the Beard family curse has been passed down for generations, but an ancestor discovered that a certain bloodline held the power to suppress it. As Insley mentions the blood's mysterious power, Olivia interrupts, telling him he doesn't need to reveal important secrets, and asking if he's not worried she'd be captured and reveal it. Insley grabs her chin, promising to protect her if her blood is useful. Startled, she asks if he plans to lock her up. He leans closer with a sly grin, asking if she is scared. Olivia panics, struggling against his grip, and thinking that she cannot escape this situation even though she knows the story. Insley holds her hand firmly as she turns away, flustered and trapped. In a desperate, chibi-style outburst, she shouts for him to wait. Insley looks down at her with a calm, questioning expression. Olivia declares that if her blood is useful, he must promise not to harm Samuel. Insley notes she isn't a good person and questions her deep concern for the child. He surprises her by pulling out a small needle instead of something more sinister. As he brings the needle toward her finger, a startled, chibi Olivia pleads for him to wait. He pricks her finger with the needle, drawing a single drop of blood. Insley gazes at the drop of blood on her fingertip, remarking with surprise that such pure blood actually exists. He suddenly clutches his chest as if in pain, causing a worried Olivia to ask what's wrong with him. As Olivia wonders if he's suffering from the curse's effects, Insley sharply tells her to shut up and stay quiet. He brings a finger to his lips, silencing her as he struggles against an unseen force. The scene darkens, signaling a foreboding shift in the atmosphere as an unknown power takes hold. Confused, Olivia wonders what is happening, questioning why the bracelet on his wrist isn't suppressing the curse as it's supposed to. Insley suddenly pulls Olivia into his lap, his grip tight. She cries out for him to calm down, realizing she must protect herself. With a look of fierce determination, Olivia reaches out and grabs the cursed bracelet on Insley's wrist. Insley's tense expression softens as he calms down, telling her not to worry, and remarking that he never thought she'd bring him such a pleasant surprise. Flustered and still struggling, Olivia demands that he let her go if he is truly calm. Holding her close, Insley declares they can let bygones be bygones, but asserts that from now on, he will be the one to decide what happens. Now kneeling before him, Olivia makes one final desperate plea. He can do whatever he wants to her, but he must not dare harm Samuel. With a faint smile, Insley notes she's brought more pleasant surprises, then turns from a collapsed Olivia, deciding to leave things there for the day. He turns back to ask if she plans to sleep there, prompting Olivia to get up while thinking she should have found a way to escape sooner. With a determined look, Olivia realizes it was too soon to celebrate her supposed victory. She scoffs internally, thinking it's absurd to believe Insley would ever be a good guy. Olivia is left speechless and shocked by his unexpected command. Resolved, Olivia tells herself she must behave and wait for a chance to run, as she can't act rashly in his mansion. An irritated Olivia stomps up the grand staircase while Insley watches her from below. As a maid leads Olivia away, a man with long, light brown hair greets Insley, noting his return. The light brown-haired man offers to go to the lab, but Insley says he wants to discuss the human blood that helps him sleep. The man asks if Insley forgot the blood-drawing instrument is at the pavilion. Insley curtly replies that he did. Looking exhausted, Insley dismisses the man, saying he is tired and wants to rest. As Insley walks away, the light brown-haired man clenches his fist in frustration, wishing his master would learn to hold back. A short-haired man in a blue uniform joins the light brown-haired man, who reports that His Excellency and the lady were at the rear pavilion. The short-haired man asks if Insley just scared her a little, and presses the other man for details about what he saw on his mission. The light brown-haired man calls the uniformed man a gossip and an oaf, sparking an indignant argument between them. Countess Castor worries about Loris, who has shut herself in her room since returning. Edwin Castor arrives and explains that Olivia has returned, shocking Countess Castor with the news that she is alive. Edwin reports that Olivia and Inslat are rumored to be intimate, which is why Loris is in shock. Feeling pity, Countess Castor agrees as Edwin dismisses the maid. Edwin firmly declares that they cannot allow Loris to suffer any more because of Olivia. He clenches his jaw, insisting that Loris has already endured enough pain in the past. Countess Castor looks to her son, agreeing and asking if there is a way to resolve the situation. Edwin asks his mother to please bring Olivia back to their home somehow. He places his trust in his mother, telling her that if it's her, it should be possible. In her room, Loris smirks, confident that everyone is on her side and vowing to watch Olivia fall into ruin. Back in Inslat's mansion, a frustrated Olivia paces in her room, declaring she can't take it anymore. Squeak. Opening her door, Olivia is met by a dark-haired guard and a green-haired guard who ask if something is wrong. Startled, she covers her mouth and awkwardly asks if Inslat has returned yet. The green-haired guard corrects her to use the title His Excellency, causing Olivia to fume internally. Pouting on a sofa, Olivia resigns herself to enduring the situation for now, admitting he isn't someone she can handle easily. Musing to herself, Olivia realizes she hasn't taken a bath yet and again wonders where Inslat is. Olivia prioritizes taking a bath over her worries, while a newly returned Inslat asks his guards where she went. The guards report that she never left the room. Hearing the faint sound of water, Inslat deduces she's in the bath. With a flick of his wrist, Inslat dismisses the guards and heads toward the room. He walks down the hall, thinking about how she hurt him, yet acts as if nothing happened. Blushing slightly, Inslat decides to take things slowly and not rush his approach. A slight, satisfied smile plays on his lips as he waits for his plan to unfold. Inslat calls out again, but gets no answer. Meanwhile, Olivia, in the bath, wonders why it's so quiet. She wonders if the estate enforces strict separation between men and women, even for servants. Unable to wash her back, she calls out for help from whoever is nearby. With a sly smile, she thanks the person who has come to help her, assuming it's a maid. Her eyes fly open in wide-eyed, furious shock. Clutching her robe, Olivia demands to know why Inslat is in his own bedroom, then asks if she can use another room instead. Flustered, Olivia wonders how the tense, suspenseful atmosphere suddenly shifted into something romantic. She tries to calm down, telling herself that being stubborn won't do her any good with a man like Inslat. Having composed herself, she declares she isn't regretting her choice and will get changed. With his back to her, Inslat announces that he will be taking a bath as well. He glances over his shoulder with a confident, sly expression. Confused, Olivia asks him what he means. Inslat simply tells her to follow his instructions if she wants to be safe. From the top of a darkened staircase, a furious Olivia defiantly asks if he is threatening her, declaring his house is already the scariest place. Resolute, Olivia decides that she does not want to run away from this situation. Creak. Ornate double doors swing open in a grand, empty hall. From behind a pillar, Samuel peeks out and happily calls out to his mom, saying he was just on his way to see her. Olivia smiles, telling Samuel she was also on her way to her room as they meet in the opulent hallway. Smiling warmly, Olivia praises Samuel, telling him he has done well to capture the Duchess's heart. A blushing, chibi-style Samuel proudly says of course, adding that he gained a lot today, just as a nearby door handle begins to turn. Startled by the sound, Olivia turns sharply with Samuel, demanding to know who is there. Standing protectively in front of Samuel in a playroom, Olivia worries that Inslat might be planning to go back on his promise not to harm the boy. The dark-haired maid, Alice, enters the room with a glass of milk, announcing that she brought it for bedtime. When Alice questions her intense stare, Olivia nervously claims she was just telling Samuel a scary story, which Alice finds odd at such a late hour. Olivia quickly adds that it helps him sleep. Alice sternly tells Olivia to return to His Highness's room to fulfill her duty, and offers to tell Samuel a story in her place. Turning away, Alice firmly reiterates that Olivia should go back. Samuel clings to Olivia, wanting to stay with his mama, but Alice reminds him he must follow the rules of the Duke's residence. As Olivia walks away, she wonders if Alice brought Samuel to her on someone's orders or her own accord, finding the timing far too perfect. Upon entering the bedroom, Olivia is stunned to find a shirtless Inslat drying his long, wet hair with a towel. Inslat calmly asserts that it's his room before asking where she went. As he pushes her onto the bed, she explains she was worried about Samuel sleeping in an unfamiliar place. Wondering why she is so flustered, Olivia tries to put distance between them, but Insley pulls her close, remarking that she is awfully pure. Leaning in, Insley questions if their night at the academy was an illusion or if she is not the true Olivia. Panicked at the thought of being discovered and executed, Olivia claims she is simply not used to being this close to a man. Insley scoffs at her excuse, reminding her of their time with the mercenaries, before telling her it is late and time to rest. Olivia stares at the bed in dismay, realizing there is only a single blanket. Insley confronts her about asking for another blanket, while Olivia internally tries to stay calm. She tells him she moves too much in her sleep for them to share a bed. Smirking, Insley calls her a sleeping aid and then offers her the single blanket if she dislikes sharing that much. Olivia feigns concern, asking if he is really giving her the blanket, while thinking she must appear humble on the surface. Insley tells her to simply endure the cold and takes the blanket for himself, leaving Olivia shivering and miserable on the floor. Lying comfortably in bed, Insley notes how her presence brings him peaceful sleep and decides to wait, certain she will eventually come to him to escape the cold. The next morning, the uniformed aide informs a seated Insley that Countess Castor and her son have arrived for a visit. Intrigued by the unexpected visit from Olivia's family, Insley allows them in and instructs Alice to play along with his act. As Insley lounges on a sofa, he asks Alice if Olivia is still asleep. Alice criticizes Olivia's lack of responsibility, attributing it to her upbringing. Insley touches the jewel on his collar, remarking that it is not entirely her fault since he, quote, pushed her quite hard last night. Alice looks troubled, but insists that Olivia still has a duty to fulfill. Countess Castor and Edwin Castor enter the room, and the Countess looks around in disapproval. With a furious expression, Countess Castor begins to reprimand Insley. The Countess yells at Insley for Olivia's behavior, just as Olivia, dressed in a maid's uniform, lets out a loud sneeze from the top of the stairs. Still on the staircase, an annoyed Olivia loudly complains about him hogging the blanket all night. As everyone below stares up at her, Olivia freezes in horror, realizing what she just blurted out. Insley turns to the stunned Countess Castor with a smirk and asks, "Did you see that?" He coolly reminds the Countess that while Olivia is a noble's daughter, her education prior to their meeting was the Castor family's responsibility. Edwin and Countess Castor look on with grave expressions. Countess Castor steps forward and formally apologizes, taking full responsibility for Olivia's perceived misbehavior. Announcing that the Castor family has another daughter, Loris, whose demeanor is more ladylike, Countess Castor's words cause Olivia to stifle a laugh. Olivia quickly apologizes for her outburst, awkwardly telling the stunned group to continue their conversation. Realizing the story is progressing quickly, Olivia feels a sense of convenience as Countess Castor proposes to take Olivia home for re-education and send Loris in her place. Confused by her mother's proposition, Olivia inwardly questions why the Castor family is suddenly so invested in her fate. Olivia stands stiffly beside Insley, her expression grim as she processes her family's shocking offer. Steeling herself, Olivia internally insists she must endure the humiliation and not lose her temper with Insley. As Insley invites the Castors to sit, Alice approaches Olivia from behind, sternly reminding her to do what she is supposed to do. Utterly baffled by the vague command, Olivia silently wonders what her duties could possibly be in this situation. Insley casually props his leg up on the sofa, settling in with a look of relaxed authority as he waits. While a tiny chibi Olivia fumes, Insley pointedly asks if she understands him. She reluctantly agrees, feeling she has no other choice. As Olivia kneels at his feet and begins a leg massage, Insley loudly asks how the pressure is, putting her on display for her family. He chides her for not using enough strength, and an irritated Olivia complies, causing his expression to tighten in discomfort. Countess Castor asks if this is a normal duty for her, prompting Olivia to mentally list all the demeaning tasks she performs. Putting on a bright smile, Olivia gives a thumbs up and cheerfully lies that these duties are simply how the Beard family does things. Alice approaches Countess Castor and Edwin, holding a green book as if to formalize the next steps. Countess Castor and Edwin stare with expressions of pure shock and revulsion at Olivia's degradation. Alice formally inquires about Countess Castor's plans to send Loris, stating that they need to prepare an educational plan for her. Edwin's hand tightens into a fist on his lap as he struggles to contain his boiling rage. Looking over at the furious Castors, Insley smirks and coolly asks if there is a problem with the arrangement. Snap. No longer able to contain himself, Edwin leaps to his feet in a furious outburst. Insley calmly warns Edwin, asking if he understands the consequences of disrespecting a high-ranking noble. A close-up reveals Insley's cold, intimidating gaze, reinforcing the unspoken threat. Edwin glares back, his face a mask of impotent rage as he realizes his powerless position. The uniformed aide steps forward, announcing that he will call the guards to handle Edwin's outburst. Countess Castor stands abruptly, shouting that while she doesn't care about Olivia, she refuses to let Loris suffer such humiliation. Crack! In a shocking move to de-escalate the situation, Countess Castor slaps her own son across the face. Stunned, Edwin holds his cheek and curses inwardly, admitting to himself that he is in no position to criticize Insley. Watching the family drama unfold, Olivia dryly concludes that the story's heroine's brother isn't very bright. Countess Castor formally apologizes for her children's upbringing and begs to take them home, leaving Olivia to wonder why her mother is suddenly so fixated on her. A new voice cuts through the tension as the Duchess of Beard appears on the staircase with Samuel, asking about the commotion. A small, white-haired boy runs towards a woman in green, joyfully shouting for his mama. A man and woman with brown hair watch in confusion, the woman echoing the boy's question. The brown-haired woman in the purple dress criticizes the maid, understanding why Lord Insley treats her poorly. The brown-haired man glares, accusing her of shamelessly dragging their family's name through the mud. The woman in green steps forward, claiming everyone is misunderstanding the situation. The woman in purple sternly faces the woman in green. The woman in green glances over her shoulder at the silent, white-haired man. She then thoughtfully asks what they plan to do with the pink-haired maid. The woman in purple grants permission to deal with her as a slave, or however they wish. She then confirms that she and her husband have no objections. Her husband places a hand on her shoulder as she thinks that making a Castor family member a slave would be too shameful. She decides they must publicly declare Olivia troublesome to protect someone named Loris from any future scandal. The boy in Olivia's arms asks who these people are and why they're saying such mean things. Olivia smiles gently, dismissing them as insignificant and nasty people. The boy looks up at her with fierce loyalty, promising to protect his mama. Olivia's heart melts as she tells him he's already doing more than enough to protect her. A man in a military uniform reports to the white-haired man that the preparations are complete. The white-haired man presents a letter of disownment, telling the Castor family that signing it will sever all ties with Olivia and forfeit their say in her life. The couple readily agrees to sign and take responsibility. The Castor man eyes Olivia, wondering why she seems so calm, as if she has a powerful ally. He suddenly feels a jolt of unease, realizing something is not right. The Castor woman, quill in hand, decides to quickly finalize the disownment before any more questions are asked. She quickly hands over the signed document, eager to move on. The white-haired man reviews the document and calmly confirms that it's acceptable. He offers the letter to Olivia, but she declines to see it, trusting Lord Ainsley completely, before he grabs her hand. The Castor woman watches them, confused about what they are discussing. Lord Ainsley pulls Olivia close and confronts the woman in green, pointedly asking if she is truly Olivia's mother. He accuses her of treating Olivia not like a daughter, but like an enemy she was eager to condemn. The Castor woman is stunned, questioning why the woman in green's attitude has suddenly changed. The woman in green ignores the accusation, instead calling out to the boy, Samuel, "Come to Grandma." The Castor man and woman are utterly shocked by her words. With a protective arm around Olivia, Lord Insley coldly declares that Samuel is his son. Olivia panics internally, questioning if it's truly wise to reveal the truth so suddenly. Lord Insley gives a slight, confident smirk, completely in control of the situation. He turns his cold gaze on the family, accusing them of neglecting Olivia for years while favoring another daughter. He continues his condemnation, noting they didn't even realize she was missing for a long time. Lord Insley grabs the Castor man's collar, his voice low and threatening, as he promises payback. The man stumbles backward in terror, stammering that it wasn't what they meant. He and the caster woman desperately claim it was all a terrible misunderstanding. Lord Insley dismisses their apologies, telling them they're groveling to the wrong person. He forcefully grabs the caster woman's wrist. He pushes her toward Olivia as she desperately pleads that she never meant any harm and that it's all a misunderstanding. Olivia stands her ground, calmly questioning the woman's claim of a simple misunderstanding. The caster woman falters, admitting she wrongly believed rumors and would have acted differently if she knew of the marriage. She continues her desperate apology, claiming she never would have said such thoughtless things. Olivia sees through the act, accusing her of merely plotting a new scheme while echoing Lord Insley's words. With a sharp move, Olivia forcefully pushes the woman's hand away from her. Olivia confronts her directly, questioning her lack of concern for years and accusing her of secretly wishing for Olivia's ruin. She lands her final blow, declaring the woman's actions were not just unfair, but truly cruel. The white-haired man tells the caster woman that she has seen Olivia and should now leave, identifying herself as Olivia's mother. The caster woman pleads to speak with her daughter alone. The caster man advises his mother not to be so servile as Lord Insley and Olivia observe them. The caster man glares, thinking that Olivia has found someone new to rely on and no longer cares about them. From a distance, the woman in green watches them, thinking they seem to be deliberately trying to provoke her. Holding Samuel, the woman in green tells them to return another day, as Olivia needs to rest. Lord Insley agrees to let them speak privately, and Olivia reassures him that no one would dare harm a member of the Beard family. Lord Insley takes Olivia's hand as they share a knowing glance. Olivia smiles warmly, expressing her happiness that he is protecting her. Leaning close, Lord Insley reminds her that he is not the type to passively accept insults. Confused by his actions, Olivia asks why he is holding her hand. As Olivia and her mother walk away, Lord Insley watches them with a serious expression. Once they are alone, the caster woman confronts Olivia, demanding an explanation for her attitude. Olivia dismisses her mother's complaints as a waste of time and turns to leave. Her mother stops her, demanding she start thinking about the caster family and correcting her faults. The caster woman reminds Olivia that Lord Insley is a great noble, and that the royal family is already arranging a new marriage for him. She describes an accomplished potential bride for him, telling Olivia that if she's obedient, the caster family can be her last resort. With a shadowy smile, Olivia mockingly questions if the caster family could ever be her last resort. A wave of sadness hits her, and she wonders if it is the lingering sorrow of the original Olivia's spirit. Olivia concedes her mother has a point but cuts to the chase, demanding she state her true intentions. The caster woman clasps her hands, explaining that even if Lord Insley seems to not care now, there's no guarantee for the future. She maintains a look of feigned concern. Olivia smiles coyly, waiting for her mother to continue. The caster woman reveals her scheme. She wants Olivia to find a way for Loris to come live with them. Olivia is appalled at the suggestion she introduced Loris to Lord Insley, but her mother insists Loris is a far better choice for a duchess. The mother smirks, telling Olivia she can simply step aside once Loris arrives, and that they will handle everything else. As Olivia stifles a laugh, her bewildered mother demands to know what's so funny. Olivia looks at her mother incredulously, asking if she really thinks she is that stupid. She scoffs at the ridiculous idea of introducing another woman to the father of her child and letting her family walk all over her. From a nearby doorway, Lord Insley quietly observes the escalating confrontation. The mother angrily threatens Olivia, who retorts that she only agreed to speak alone to see if her mother had any conscience left. Olivia coldly states that her mother possesses no conscience, but she isn't disappointed because she never expected otherwise. Olivia gestures dismissively, signaling the conversation is over. Lord Insley catches Samuel, who is hiding behind him, and asks if he was eavesdropping. The boy parrots his mother's words, declaring that eavesdropping is for bad kids. Lord Insley smirks, teasingly asking if Samuel isn't curious about their conversation. He leans down, telling the boy that their talk concerns him as well, making Samuel look up in surprise. Samuel stares at Lord Insley, his eyes wide with shock. The boy shouts that Lord Insley is lying. He defensively insists that his mama would never say such things. Amused, Lord Insley suggests the fuming boy go ask his mother himself if he doesn't believe him. The mother furiously questions Olivia's disrespect, but Olivia calmly reminds her of the disownment papers, leaving the woman speechless. The mother desperately claims they raised her and that her hand was forced into disowning Olivia. Whack! The mother lunges forward to strike Olivia. Olivia effortlessly blocks the slap, questioning her mother's sanity and lady's education before forcefully pushing her away. She calmly brushes off her hands as if dusting away dirt. The mother stares in utter shock, wondering when her daughter became so formidable. Samuel runs toward the commotion, calling for his mama and asking what's happening. With tears welling in his eyes, the frightened boy asks if his mama doesn't want him anymore. As Olivia comforts her son, Lord Insley watches from the doorway, thinking how easily a child can be fooled. Olivia reassures the boy that he is the most important person in the world to her. He hugs her tightly, declaring that she is also the most important person to him. The boy smiles peacefully, nestled in his mother's embrace. Watching from afar, the caster woman fumes, accusing them of ruining her big chance and scolding Olivia. The caster woman approaches, asking if the boy is Olivia's child and if he will speak with her. Olivia reaches out to stop him, but the boy tells his mama not to worry. The boy asks if he should call her Grandma, and as she smugly agrees, he purposely stomps on her foot, making her shout, "Gah!" He feigns innocence, apologizing for accidentally stepping on her foot. Olivia stifles a laugh, amused by her son's clever trick. From a nearby doorway, Lord Insley watches the scene with an exasperated look. The castellan rushes to his wife's side as she stumbles. He helps the caster woman up, telling Olivia there's no need to see them out. Olivia covers her mouth, feigning shock as they leave. The couple walks away down the long hall. Once they are gone, Olivia bursts into laughter at the absurdity of the situation. Her son gently chides her for laughing so much, reminding her to be mindful of her decorum. Olivia stops laughing, realizing with a start that she had completely forgotten her position. Composing herself, she asks if there is anything else she can do. The woman in green approaches, telling Olivia she's never met anyone quite like her. A dark-haired maid informs Olivia that she still needs to learn about etiquette and manners. Olivia looks confused, insisting she wasn't just joking around. The dark-haired maid hands a book to Lord Insley, telling him not to startle Olivia too much. As Olivia thinks Lord Insley is a good person, he declares that he will teach her himself. A bolt of lightning seems to strike Olivia as she shrieks in shock. The woman in green tells Lord Insley that he is the one who should stop startling Olivia. She warns that Olivia's personality might cause trouble, but that she will now focus on them. The woman in green invites Samuel to go horse riding, and he eagerly agrees. She pats his head affectionately, calling Samuel an adorable child. Samuel walks off with his grandma, declaring he loves her the most. Olivia calls out to the dark-haired maid, Alice. She thanks Alice for helping her earlier. Alice thinks to herself that Olivia is nothing like the rumors she's heard. Olivia turns to Lord Insley, asking if Alice has always been like that. Lord Insley looks on thoughtfully, considering her question. He warns Olivia not to rely on Alice and to be careful, admitting he doesn't trust her. He tells her not to question his feelings, and though she agrees, Olivia thinks the ducal family is chaotic and disunited. Olivia cheerfully asks Lord Insley for feedback on her performance. Lord Insley says it wasn't bad, and notes an unexpected gain, thinking they now just need to update the public. A young woman in a blue dress, Loris, waits anxiously for her mother and older brother to return. Her heart pounds as she wonders how their discussion went. She reassures herself, confident that she is far superior to a fallen woman like Olivia. She watches as the caster man and woman return, walking through the doorway. Loris stands to greet her mother and older brother, noting they were late. The caster woman brushes past Loris and her brother, stating she is tired and needs to rest. The caster man tells his sister Loris to forget about that man, promising to find her someone better, as she questions his meaning. Thump! The caster man punches a nearby surface, furiously realizing he was completely fooled. He explains that Lord Insley clearly has no intention of divorcing Olivia, especially with a child involved, leaving Loris stunned. Loris clutches the bow on her dress, stammering in disbelief and distress. The scene transitions to Lord Insley, standing resolute in his formal military attire. Loris laments to her older brother that she can't give up on Lord Insley, questioning why Olivia gets to be with him. The caster brother soberly reminds Loris that Olivia is ahead, putting her in a disadvantageous position. Loris resolves to turn the situation around, and her brother suggests using the public rumor about Olivia ruining her coming-of-age ceremony as a breakthrough. Squeeze. Loris clenches her fist, asserting that the Beard family will care about their reputation regardless of Lord Insley's wishes. She looks at her brother with fierce determination, her plan solidifying. The caster brother confirms she will use public opinion as leverage, and Loris sinisterly agrees, planning to apologize to Lord Insley and make him hers. The next day, townspeople are already gossiping about Lord Insley and a disrespectful woman from the Hebeard family.